My wife said, "Let's just be friends." But her reason broke me until I broke her plan. She said the words casually, as if she were asking me whether I wanted tea or coffee. Let's just be friends. I didn't breathe for a full second, maybe longer. The air in the living room tightened around me like a fist. She stood in front of me, arms crossed, eyes distant, body turned slightly away as if she had already begun walking out of our life. Friends. A downgrade disguised as kindness. I stared at her face, memorizing the emptiness in her eyes. Something was wrong. Something deeper than distance. Something colder than we grew apart. This wasn't a conversation. It was an announcement. My throat felt dry. "So that's it?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked down at her phone. Just a flicker of her gaze, a pulse of light on the screen. A message. From someone she didn't want me to see. "I just think," she said slowly, "I think my ex needs me more right now." There it was, the real blow, delivered with surgical precision. I felt something tear inside my chest. Not loudly, not dramatically, silently. Her ex. The same man she once cried over. The same man she swore she had healed from. The same man whose name she said she never wanted to hear again. And now she needed to be there for him? A cold calm washed over me, like stepping from fire into ice. I nodded once. Okay. She blinked, confused by my lack of reaction. She expected pleading. She expected anger. She expected the kind of emotional collapse that gives betrayals their sweetness. But I simply stood up and walked past her. Her plan had begun. Mine had too. The next morning, she acted normal, almost cheerful, as if she hadn't gutted me 12 hours earlier. She hummed while making coffee. She wore the red dress she knew I liked. She kept glancing at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. Something changed in the way she touched things. Her hand lingered on the table's edge. She walked lightly. She smiled at messages that weren't meant for me. Her body was here. Her mind was somewhere else. I watched her carefully, quiet, observant, detached, like a scientist studying a dying star. Infidelity doesn't always announce itself with lipstick stains or secret hotel receipts. Sometimes it reveals itself in shadows, in pauses, in the way a person pulls away when you lean in. But the worst part, the part that twisted inside me, was the faint trace of guilt on her face every time I looked directly at her, as if she knew she was breaking me, as if she knew I knew. She tried to speak twice, stopped both times. Maybe she thought the silence would keep her clean. Maybe she thought that if she didn't say it, she wasn't guilty. But my instincts weren't wrong, not this time. I didn't ask questions. I didn't confront her. Confrontation gives power to liars. Silence makes them expose themselves. So I studied her. The changed password on her phone. The sudden extra evening gym sessions. The phone placed face down. The late-night whispers in the laundry room. Every detail was a breadcrumb, and I followed them without letting her see the trail forming behind her. I checked her call logs on our shared plan. I watched her location history sync to our cloud account. I checked the emails she didn't know synced to our tablet. I kept my breathing quiet, my mind sharp. One thing stood out. She wasn't just talking to her ex. She was meeting him. The first night she didn't come home, she said she was staying with her sister. But her location data pinned her across the city, in a neighborhood she had no reason to be in. The next night, she said she was working late. Her phone said she never left a different location, a residential street, same house, same coordinates. Every single time. My stomach twisted, but my expression never changed. I was a ghost in my own life, silent, watching, learning. And then I saw the message, the one she forgot to delete from her cloud backup. Just tell him you need space. You'll be mine soon. Her reply, I told him. He took it calmly. Maybe he doesn't care anymore. They always mistake calm for weakness. They always think silence is surrender. But silence is preparation. I needed proof, not rumors, not suspicion, evidence. So I parked outside the address. I watched her walk in, laughing, hair tied the way he always liked it, loose curls she never wore for me anymore. She didn't see me. She didn't even think to look. I stayed until the lights went off, until their shadows moved behind the curtains, until I could no longer convince myself this was just emotional betrayal. It was everything. Inside the car, I didn't cry, I didn't break, I didn't scream. I simply sat in the dark and let the truth settle into my bones. She didn't leave me for love. She left me for nostalgia, for the illusion of a past she couldn't let die, for a man who held her heart hostage long before I ever touched it. I went home, opened my laptop, and pulled up everything I'd gathered. Screenshots, locations, call logs, messages, photos. A cold, perfectly organized archive of betrayal. When she came home the next morning, smelling faintly of a cologne that wasn't mine, I waited. She froze when she saw the papers on the table. "What is this?" her voice cracked. "Your truth," I said quietly. She picked up the printouts with shaking fingers. Her eyes widened, her breath staggered. You tracked me?" "You left me long before I followed." She sat down slowly, collapsing into the chair like a puppet cut from its strings. I didn't mean to." "Don't explain," I said. "You've already said enough." She reached for my hand. I pulled mine back. That hurt her more than shouting ever could. "Please," she whispered, "we can fix this." The irony punched through the room. She wanted to fix my heart now, after she crushed it for the man who once crushed hers? "Why him?" I asked. Her mouth trembled. "He needed me," she whispered. "And I didn't?" She didn't answer. Because we both knew the truth. She chose excitement over loyalty, chaos over stability, a fantasy over reality. I stood up and slid a folder across the table. She opened it. Divorce papers. Her breath broke again. You already had these?" "For weeks," I said, "before you told me about being friends, before the nights away, before the lies." Her face collapsed, the mask shattering violently. "But you thought I'd beg." I leaned in slightly. "You bet your future on my weakness." She covered her mouth, choking on a sob. "And my heart?" I whispered. "It was never yours to play with." She sank to her knees. "I'm sorry," she cried. "Please don't do this. Please, don't leave." I looked down at her, broken by her own intentions. "You already left," I said quietly. "I'm just catching up." And I walked away. Her plan ended there. Mine didn't. She tried calling, texting, begging, pleading. Every message blurred into the next. "I made a mistake. It meant nothing. I didn't think you'd actually leave. Please, come back." But something inside me had shifted permanently. The man she betrayed died the moment she said, "Let's just be friends." The man who walked away was someone she couldn't manipulate. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. I didn't feel anything for her. And that was the real revenge. Not the papers, not the silence, not the truth I laid in front of her. The real victory was emotional detachment. The part of me she once owned was gone, and she knew it. The last message she ever sent came late at night. "Do you ever think about us?" I stared at the screen for a long, quiet moment. Then I typed, "Not anymore." And for the first time in months, I slept peacefully.